We are finally back home in San Diego, California, and welcome back to another Ferrari video, boys. I know you guys have been missing it. To be honest, I have been missing it, and I have some pretty exciting stuff for today's video, as you guys can tell from the thumbnail, but let's just jump right into it. The front end of the car is now complete. All the structural integrity, the skeleton of the Ferrari is here with us today. We're gonna be building all this stuff back together, and by the end of this video, this car from the outside will look like shit, but it will look like a normal Ferrari, although it's really just gonna be a skeleton underneath. So I'll do a quick overview of the car so we can be caught up and up to speed of where we currently are. And I also have a new price quote for the rest of the parts for the Ferrari, so we'll dive into that a little bit later in the video. As you guys have heard me say a million times, the fender arches, the fender frames, they're back, they're in. That is what this fender arch is right here, connected to our front cage brackets. This is the right-hand side, and this is the left-hand side, followed by the fender arches as well, and our front core support from that yellow 458 that we saw at the wrecking yard. She's in the car, as well as this power brace that was bent through the middle because they towed from this spot. I don't know why you would ever think that's the place to tow from, but that's what they decided to do. Our welds are looking good. We fixed our wheel that was bent and undrivable is now back. This is going to be a temporary use. This is the same wheel.
That's the same wheel?
You didn't know that?
No.
Look how good it
got
looks.
a new wheel. Whoa, this was bent as hell.
Fine, it doesn't look like it was ever bent.
Well, how do you fix
It only
How do
costed
you fix a
it
wheel?
only costed $250 for that.
To fix that.
To fix the wheel.
That was really messed up. Wait, where was it messed up?
It's hard to tell where, I guess, to be honest, like,
I
it's
don't
really
know.
hard to notice
I
where
have
it was
no
screwed
idea.
up. Also, I got a new update on this rotor. Remember when it was spinning, it was really, really wobbly, and I was like, it's either the rotor of their hat, and if it was a rotor, it was gonna cost like 3 to 4 to 5, 6 grand to replace both of them, which would not be in our favor, but we caught a little bit of a break because it was just the rotor hat assembly. So this part was bent, so we have a new one coming in, so the car still has a little bit of a slight wobble to it. The whole right casting has all been replaced.
That guy.
Our lower control arm has been fixed. We welded in a new lower bracket to the front of the subframe down there. So all of these suspension components, guys, we caught a lucky break. They're all fine, none of it was damaged. Suspension-wise, the car is perfect. Subframe-wise, the car is perfect. Frame-wise, the car is perfect. We have the front end, so this is huge news. From this point on, all we have to do is just reassemble, like Legos, the front end of the car, and we literally have a working Ferrari. Like, we're back in business.
The wiring is pretty messed up. That's not Legos. That's something we have to figure out.
I told them at the beginning of the video, I was like, I have a new price quote. I have the rest of the parts literally on order, ready to go. So we'll dive into that in just a little bit. So we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but
Right. You were just saying Legos, and I'm like, that ain't no Legos, son.
the roadmap is there.
It's looking good.
It's
looking
a
good.
pretty clear definition of the way we need to go.
Yeah.
It is Legos as far as putting it back.
Yeah. You got these?
I don't think the fender liners are new.
Yeah, they are.
This is
the real ones.
these are rears.
Oh, fuck. We have to put those back. Ooh, that was rough.
Well, we're not gonna put all that back quite yet because the car is going to paint in 2 days, but we won't be dropping off today, but this car is getting ready to go to the paint booth. So like, we're making great steps here. And someone in the comments, and I got like top comment, was like, that Ferrari is gonna be in the shop for 2 months. It ain't gonna take 2 weeks. Boy, it only took literally 12 days. So that's less than 2 weeks. So speaking of painting this car, we're gonna go ahead and get all this sprayed white because as you can tell, that is from the yellow Ferrari that we saw, and all these other pieces are used and kind of new. So we're gonna get this all uniform the same color. The interior of the car, we have a new airbag on the way from Ferrari. The passenger airbag that blew up and the right door panel that blew up are both in the shop right now getting repaired. So we have the interior being put back together. To replace this little hole right here, I got quoted $750 for a whole new thing. So to be honest, I think I might wear the hole. I'm gonna wear it like a badge on my chest and be like, yes, this was a wrecked Ferrari. It was damaged at one point. So I'm gonna leave that little hole because honestly, I don't wanna spend $750 for like literally that much. I'm gonna wear the hole and be like, that's the battle scar the car will keep. But other than that, boys, she's back. We're literally gonna be jamming on this car like crazy. So let's see how we can put this thing back together. So unfortunately, it is raining outside today, so we're gonna be working kind of in the back end of this bay underneath the BRZ because I don't want to put this on the lift quite yet because it's literally gonna go to the paint shop in a couple days. So excuse the tight space. The first thing we're gonna do is put back this front fender, which should be really easy because the side skirts are off the car right now because we're gonna take those off to paint and they're gonna do some body work on the side skirts. So installing this should literally be a piece of cake. And before we dive into this, I want to show you guys the fender because these were the stock ones that we used that I didn't think were savable.
What is all this stuff?
Clear bra they had on the car. At the shop that they put the front frame back on, they kind of fixed this up a little bit, bent out all the bends right here, and obviously
really
this is gonna need some work at the body shop when it gets into paint, but it looks great. And they like fixed up the back end here and kind of just like redid the supports on it. So we saved those fenders, and that right there was
It's gonna look
$2 or
so-
$3 grand off the top end of the part. So huge moves on that.
It's gonna look so good. So when we got the car back, there were a whole bunch of random bolts from different Ferraris. Yellow bolts, red bolts, but I remembered for a fact that we kept all the bolts in this little baggie.
I forgot we even had that because we actually got new hardware, but we need to like hold it.
I'm holding it.
Think that's it?
Yeah, that's it. You're good.
Tighten this down a little bit. Moment of truth. Ooh. Nice.
But that's it.
Nice, okay. Fender 1 installed, and because me and Calvin had great organization with our bolts, I forgot what I was gonna say. That's awesome. We normally lose our shit and don't know where our stuff is. This time, we didn't lose it. Moving on to the left fender. As you can see, they kind of did some work right here and kind of got all the scrunched up, squishy metal. And other than that, this fender was perfect. So we're gonna install this. The secret to installing these fenders is to do it with the door wide open because it allows you to get this back bolt through the front frame bracket. Just a little tip if anyone's doing a 458 rebuild out there. It's amazing how well this lines up, and this is the main reason as to why I took the car to get this frame job done first, and why I really didn't want to do this in-house, because how straight this work was and how straight these frames were really dictated how well the car was going to get put back together. So as you can see, our fenders line up perfectly, our bumper lines up perfectly, and this is only using one of the speed nuts. There's another hardware connection point right here. This is just with one, so we could probably raise this just a centimeter more when we have the other bolt in there. We don't have any support for the bumper on the bottom, so as you can see here, this is where the rest of like the trunk and the under panel is going to be going. So underneath the body, it's literally just a bare skeleton and it's naked. But the dress up of the car and the way the car looks, we have the exterior of it. And as you can see, we're gonna have naked holes here, naked holes here. This is all stuff from Ferrari. I'm gonna have to order brand new. This front fascia grill. I don't even know if I'm gonna buy those sensors. And my thought process for that is, and if you missed this video, we have the Liberty Walk kit coming in for this car. Now, I don't expect to see that kit maybe till late March, although they did unveil it at Tokyo Auto Salon. Those 458s that they had there were technically prototype kits. So the kit isn't ready to be shipped out right now, although I was the first person to order one. We probably won't see them till, my guess is maybe March, maybe earlier, could be later. You know, when we go ahead and do that, it's a new front bumper, it's a new hood, it's a new fender. So some of you might be like, Tej, why'd you even buy all the used parts, and why are you gonna get the car painted when you're just gonna be replacing all of it? And quite honestly, it's because I don't know how long the wait's gonna be for the new kit to be in, and I kinda wanna drive this thing as much as I can the moment it's done. And I don't wanna be driving around a 458 with ugly front panels and mismatched paint colors. So I'm gonna spend a little bit more money just to have it looking perfect for a month or two while I'm driving it as my daily. For that reason, because I will just be tearing it apart. I'm pretty sure the new front bumper doesn't have spots for front sensors and all that stuff, which means that package option is kind of a waste. So hopefully there's a way to code that out. I'll have to do some research on that, but I don't know if I'll be buying the new sensors now that I think about it. This looks great, looks really good, super easy to put back together. Now let's move on to the hood. so this will be a test fit to see how it lines up. We're probably gonna have to do some adjustment. Or honestly, that's probably good for now because we're gonna disassemble this at paint, so it doesn't really matter. Ooh, we have a front end of a Ferrari now. We obviously don't have our headlights either. Those ones that were used at the shop were only there just to make sure the framing and everything was perfect. So we don't have the new headlights yet. I'm still looking for those. I need the AFC versions, which are, of course, the more expensive versions or the higher spec. I think it's like active lighting or something like that. So those from Ferrari are $2,500 each plus shipping. I haven't been able to find used AFC 458 lights that aren't already screwed up and have broken tab. You guys are linking me a bunch of stuff. Any of you know anyone who is selling 2015 458 AFC headlights? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. They're the more expensive ones used that aren't screwed up. Let me know because you have a buyer lined up right here. So the card is still throwing like a million codes, and I actually did some research, and when I press the brake, the car starts. That is not how Ferrari is supposed to be. So we must be like short circuiting somewhere or something. I'm not quite sure. I wanted to pull the car out, just kind of see it more in a more open light, and it is raining just a little bit, but I'm so happy with how this car is turning out. It's going way faster than I thought it would, which is awesome because I really wanted to challenge myself to get this car up and running as quick as possible to show that it is possible and you kind of can get into a Ferrari for way cheaper than what they're selling for. What's honestly amazing is that the car drives so much better now. I mean, it still feels not like it's supposed to because there's no power steering, and obviously like the car doesn't have cooling or anything, but I can drive it straight and it feels pretty normal, and I can actually turn the wheel and it doesn't bind up, which is a pretty cool feeling. It kind of gives me an extra kick of motivation to get going on this car because I know we're almost there. I have all the parts that I need for this car pretty much in a quote. I just need to pay it. A lot of the parts are actually new from Ferrari because I can't find them used. And it's literally just simple stuff like foam cushions for the hood, little hood struts. I'll read some of it off. New horns. We have body wire harnesses. We have like the fans, radiators, a bunch of stuff like that. And like I said, I want to be really open with how much is going into this car. I really want to document the process and show like or how much it really is going to take to get this car back on the road. Right now, the estimated remaining price to get this car completely back to stock, getting all the interior pieces refurbished, every little OEM bolt back in the car is another $28,000. But I think I can cut close to $10,000 of that off, finding some refurbished pieces, or I mean, probably lose like 2 or 3 grand of that if I can find used headlights, maybe a used windshield. So stuff like that I can shave off quite a bit. Currently, we're 118 into the car. Once it goes into paint, which is in a couple days, and we get the rest of the stuff, I imagine we'll be about 150-ish into the car. I think I said I originally guess it was around 140 to 145, so that's pretty much right in the ballpark, which makes me super excited. So I will see you guys in the next Ferrari video where we drop it off at the paint shop and see how much it's gonna cost to get this thing painted back to stock. I'll see you guys then. And I'm feeling